As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Well, I've thought long and hard, Gabe, about going with the student section. Now, I know you weren't there. Student section was packed like
Yes.
30 minutes before kick, maybe even longer, 45 minutes before kick. They were there. They were loud. It was packed all the way up until halftime. It was packed through halftime. It was packed to start the third quarter. It was packed all the way through the third quarter whenever we had that big run up, secured the game. And then it was packed through the third and fourth quarter when they turned the lights out and did the the dance and in between the third and fourth quarter, all that. And then it was packed through the fourth quarter. And it was packed for the fourth quarter all the way until the clock hit 0. They never left. It was awesome.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And it makes
Yeah.
me even really, I missed one game and it's a game where the student section just balls out. What?
The student section was the most packed section the entire game. Well, the whole stadium was packed for, the first 3 quarters. But as people started to leave after the third quarter, student section was packed all the way till the clock hit double zeros.
Hell yeah. So you students, that's how it's done. Very proud of you guys. Way to go. Good work.
But I guess I had to settle on the fun belt, right? And App State, man, every now and then a team comes along and just accomplishes what every single person in the country wants them to do. And knocking off Texas A&M was that exact thing. Amazing. I didn't get to watch much of it, but as I saw the updates coming in, just pure joy, Gabe. Just pure joy. This is college football, right? This is it.
I did get to watch quite a bit of it. Texas A&M's offense stinks.
It's terrible.
Like I don't know how you have that much talent and you're that bad on offense.
What they run like 30 something plays for the entire game?
They had 9 first downs the entire game. Haynes King ain't it, Jimbo. They got that 5-star kid. They might as well go to him. Season's over. There's no coming back from losing to App State.
No, there's not.
And I will say this: if anyone didn't get to watch this game, App State was the better team. There was nothing fluky about this at all. They outplayed them in every phase of the game, which I was watching it going, because the type of talent A&M's got, right? And it was stunning. Man, pretty satisfying, I won't lie. But it was pretty wild watching them get outplayed completely throughout that game. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Jimbo's. That's okay. He's got plenty of fans. But it just takes one loss to a team like Appalachian State where, all of a sudden, because anyone that says anything bad about Jimbo gets overrun by just the sheer volume of Texas A&M fans that are out there, which is fine. That's good. I'm glad that they're behind their team. But like the cat is out of the bag. Jimbo Fisher's, aside from a 2-year run, he's an 8-4 football coach. And that's what A&M's been since he's been there. That's what they appear to be again this year. And his offenses are not good. So
they aren't. I mean, certainly one good with what I watched on Saturday. And if that's them, they'll be lucky to be 8-4 with the schedule they've got.
Right.
So
Well, and I'm anxious to see like
their defense couldn't get off the field.
how do they respond to because not all teams respond to something like this the same way. And whenever you like the NIL in combination with the transfer portal situation becomes really interesting whenever a team, and they've got a lot of football to play, but if you have like a shockingly disappointing season to what a lot of people thought you were going to do, like what does that mean for your roster at the end of the season?
Yeah. Well, all I know is Appalachian State had the ball for 41 minutes and 29 seconds of that football game. 12 of 25 on third and fourth down conversions. Almost all 50% for Appalachian State. I mean, they beat them up, man. And it's not like Chase Bryce is some all-world QB back there for him. It was impressive. I mean, Appalachian State, anyone that watched that game walked away going, oh, no. Yeah, that better team won. No doubt.
Can you imagine? I'm sure they had, 85 plus 90, 100,000 people in that stadium. Can you imagine the moans and the groans, like when the defense can't get off the field and finally, oh my God, finally they get off the field and you 3 and out? That had to be its own hostile environment to play in as that game wore on.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine.
And another dreadful field goal attempt.
Yeah. Well, Texas A&M lost. Clearly we're very upset about it. All right. Who is your loser of the weekend?
He's not the loser of the weekend, but I thought Baker Mayfield had pulled it off. I thought he pulled it off. And then the Browns go down, and who is this kicker that hits a 58-yard bomb into the top of the net? That would have been good for like 70 plus yards. I hated that for Baker. I thought he had gone down and won the football game after, really grinding it out. His poor rookie left tackle trying to block Myles Garrett was, that was tough on Baker. And, can you imagine after the couple of sacks that Garrett had, knowing that your left tackle is whiffing on that guy every time? And how can you even have any poise in the pocket at all to deliver a football? That was frustrating to watch. I hated that for him.
Yeah, it was. Watching him take him on that drive was fun as hell, though.
Oh, I know. It was great.
I think it said a lot about Baker. He did not play particularly well early, right?
Right.
But turned it on when they needed him, and you could just feel that football team kind of feeding off that energy. That was an absolute bomb by the York guy. Rookie, that moment.
He murdered that football. Murdered it.
He robbed us of an awesome post-game press conference from Baker.
I know.
I'm kind of upset at him. Like, great, good for you. You did your job. You kicked the absolute hell out of that football. This is why they drafted you so early. I get it, but he robbed us of some great content.
I know. Which, content-wise, the NFL at 3:30 is the greatest thing in history. Is it not? It's like you can't even explain it. Whatever happened, the comedy of errors that went on in the Cincinnati Steelers game was just like, I couldn't even I turned it. I told my wife and her mom, they're all Steelers fans. I told them they lost last play of the game. Brutal. Turned it off. I was done with it. And then I flipped back over and they're in overtime. I was like, what happened? Amazing.
Oh, it's classic. Yeah, I'll touch on that a little bit. All right, I'll give you my winner and loser. But First.
First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information.
And if you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you are doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year round. Remember, in 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, for my winner of the weekend, thought about going with Mark Stoops in Kentucky. I guess we've got to take Anthony Richardson's week 1 Heisman away from him. He struggled, man. He struggled. But Kentucky goes to the swamp, gets a 26-16 win over Florida. And that defense from Kentucky is a physical group, man. And they completely contained Anthony Richardson, had the pick 6, got multiple 4th down stops in the 4th quarter when they absolutely had to have him. Just really impressive stuff. And Mark Stoops becomes the all-time winningest head coach in Kentucky football history. It's pretty solid weekend for the Wildcats.
What was Florida ranked?
They went all the way up to 12, I think, right?
Think about that. Kentucky, Mark Stoops overtakes Bear Bryant as the winningest coach in Kentucky football history with the win over number 12 Florida on the road. Like, to think about that in Kentucky football is crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Really, really, really nice win. Also thought about going, you mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Cincinnati Bengals in overtime. And if you haven't seen the end of that football game, go watch it. I mean, it was a wild ride. The 4th quarter into overtime. Ted, a lot happened.
Here's the only problem. The end of that football game lasts an hour and a half.
Correct. It took a very, very long time. But so you mentioned turning it off, right? Joe Burrow gets another opportunity. And by the way, that dude was turning the ball over like crazy.
Yeah, would they have 5 turnovers?
He had 5.
Yeah, he had 5,
including a pick 6. So he had 4 interceptions. 1 was a pick 6 and had a lost fumble. And I will say, everyone, they loaded up right on O-line and free agency. He still got hit like a million times.
He got killed. TJ Watt was incredible. Then he tore his pec.
Oh,
Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine were all over the place. Both those guys had nice games.
But I think this is when you turned it off. The Bengals score, right? They go down.
Yeah.
They score.
Jamar Chase, out route, corner of the end zone.
It's a phenomenal football play.
Which, did you see the one where his toe was barely out, the one-handed catch?
Yes.
I jumped up. I was alone at my house and jumped up in the living room. I was like, oh my God.
What a catch.
I
did the same thing. I was watching it alone in Colorado. Did the exact same thing. That's hilarious. But so they score, right? And this is just kind of how the end of this game was. The Bengals long snapper got hurt. So their backup tight end had to snap the extra point. The operation was really slow. Like, it was on target, but it was slow. And Minka Fitzpatrick he almost like caught it in the air. He was there so quickly. So that's how it ended up going into overtime. And then overtime, Boswell doinks one, and then it gets another
They
chance.
both missed, right? Didn't they both miss in overtime?
It was just the NFL is incredible. And for us to get that in week one was just, so good.
It's the funniest thing is like he kicks the game winner. It's such a weird thing though, because on the sideline, it's like we either win. If he loses, we tie because overtime was about to be. It's a weird game.
Yeah. But my winner of the weekend, Lance Leipold, because the Kansas Jayhawks went to Morgantown and beat West Virginia. And got it done in overtime. And Kansas is 2-0 for the first time since 2011. And the thing about that game was they went down early. Like West Virginia's offense looked great to start the game, moving it at will. And Kansas kind of just weathered the storm and then took the game completely over. And West Virginia had to mount a comeback in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit after week one when they had that impressive win against Tennessee Tech. They looked good on defense, had the Big 12 Player of the Week on defense. I'm not saying that they're going to run through the Big 12. I don't even know what their final record is going to be, but that team is moving in the right direction. Number one offense in the country, points per game right now, the Kansas Jayhawks. How about that?
Yeah, and Jalen Daniels is the reason why. That guy's fun to watch, man.
Yep.
Did it with his arm, did it with his legs. I mean, he was the difference maker in that game for them. And the most bizarre thing about this game wasn't Kansas coming back, wasn't West Virginia putting some drives together in the fourth quarter to force overtime. Kansas ends up winning by 12 points in an overtime game.
No.
Because, they score, and then during JT Daniels gets the ball, throws a pick six that gets returned. I didn't look at the over-under or anything like that, but it'd be hilarious if that had an effect on it.
Oh, that would be the craziest. That'd be the craziest bad beat ever, or however you want to look at it, or best win ever. But yeah, hey man, hats off to Leipold. That contract extension, you can tell something's different up there, and that we've talked about Daniels for a while. If they could just give him some time, he can make you pay. He's a good player. Right now, Kansas is running the football for 250 yards a game.
Devin Neal had a nice game.
Yep.
He's a solid back. And then what Daniels brings as a runner, he was their leading rusher in that one. So, yeah, but it's just Kansas is a competent program again.
It's good.
Yeah. And that is not a good loss for our boy Neil Brown, man.
No.
That is.
No. And I guess I didn't see the game, but, there was some week one clock issues, clock management stuff, and like going for it and those type of things. And I guess some of that happened again in this game. Is that right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I saw someone referencing it. So
yeah. So I don't know. Not good. But all right, let's get to my loser of the weekend. Thought about going with Marcus Freeman. The honeymoon is over.
Yeah.
Yikes. After giving Notre Dame fans a lot to be excited about with how they played against Ohio State last week, you go and you lose the home opener to Marshall. And Notre Dame's offense, they have not found much offensively. We thought it was Ohio State played really, really good defense last week.
Yeah.
Marshall shut them down too. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. Buckner, now he got banged up, but he was okay. He doesn't look like a big difference maker. How does Notre Dame not have an awesome quarterback? I don't understand it.
they haven't had an awesome quarterback in a really, really long time. They are like Iowa. When's the last awesome quarterback that they had?
I mean, Ian Book was okay, but no, shouldn't Notre Dame have one of the best quarterbacks in college football? Like, you can be the quarterback at Notre Dame. I feel like a lot comes with that.
Yeah.
How do they not have a good quarterback, man?
I don't know.
They bring Drew Pine in, and he was not good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a very, very disappointing loss for Marcus Freeman. That, like, you lose the bowl game, you lose to Ohio State. That's one thing. You got to beat Marshall, man. You got to beat Marshall.
It's tough. Here's the thing. I do not waver from my opinion that he was a great hire for Notre Dame at head coach.
Agreed.
He's on the verge of he was already on the verge of losing that really good recruiting class that they had. They started off with 3 or 4 or 5 stars. They've already lost a couple of them in decommits. They had one more guy, the safety there out of North Texas, that is still committed to him. Like, this isn't going to help that situation. A lot of people think that he's not going to go there either. Like, there's going to be some tough times. It's not all going to be just positive all the way through, but I still think it's a good hire. But it's been too long for them to not be up at the top offensively. Like, everyone else that's been into the playoff multiple times has had at least some type of explosive offense one year or another, and just hadn't happened for Notre Dame yet.
Yeah, and it hadn't happened for Iowa. No. Thought about going with them. The streak is over. Matt Campbell beat Iowa.
It's crazy.
10-7 in Iowa City. It was a horrible game to watch. I mean, horrible.
I got the numbers here. Iowa, 166 total yards, 4 of 17 on third down, 57 yards rushing.
Credit to Iowa State. They got it. They slayed the dragon.
The good news here is that the Jackrabbits of, South Dakota State, their defense is better than Iowa State's. They held them to 150 total yards, only 3 third down conversions, and 58 yards rushing. So maybe there's a glimmer of hope for Oklahoma when we play Iowa State. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Iowa's offense is so bad. It's crazy.
I don't know. Like, when you just look at the statistics, I mean, Iowa State statistically had like a fairly normal game. I think they had like 350 yards of total offense. How did they not beat them worse than that?
Deckers threw it to the other team one too many times. They also fumbled. Like, they made some big mistakes, and were still able to overcome them, because Iowa's offense is just, I mean, it's brutal, man. But I'm happy for Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
It's a nice win.
Good for Iowa State.
Yeah. All right. But my loser of the weekend, Scott Frost. It happened. Now, we knew the writing was on the wall after the Northwestern loss, right? But thought that they would wait until that October 1st date when the buyout gets cut in half. But when you lose to Georgia, what was it? Georgia Southern? Is that the right school?
Another Fun Belt team. Marshall, Georgia Southern, and App State.
Yeah. When you take an L in Lincoln to Georgia Southern, you get fired. That's how it works. And yeah, would have made the move. Georgia Southern had 642 yards of offense, by the way, in that game, which is just unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. But when it comes to the Scott Frost stuff, it didn't work the way that a lot of people thought it would work. He never got the offense going. I thought what Nebraska's AD Trev Alberts said kind of described it. He's like, This is a day I hoped would never come. And it's just kind of a bummer, man, because it's this type of situation. You want the guy to succeed, right?
Mhm.
Played there, was the quarterback there, won a national title there, coming back to lead the alma mater. And it never came together for him. They could never get things going offensively. Just never
Nope.
could. So we knew it was coming, but it's official now. And now Nebraska looking for a new head coach. And I'm sure some Kansas Jayhawk fans are looking and say, hey, please don't. Please don't.
Well,
I don't know who they'll hire, but
I don't either. I have no idea.
they can pay a lot of money. I know that. So
Gary Patterson. I have no idea. This seems so dumb to me by Nebraska. What good does it do you making the move now instead of October 1st? What, that's 20 days away? And you can save $7.5 million? Does making this move, is this going to save your season? Is this going to, what are you doing? You might as well wad up and burn $7.5 million. Unless it's like a, good old boy slap you on the back. We're buddies, Trev Alberts and Scott Frost, which, hey, I'm happy for Scott Frost. It just seems like a total waste of money for the athletic department of Nebraska, right?
it does. Right? It does feel that way. But I guess the one thing is, okay, if you keep him for these next couple of weeks, I honestly think they fired him just so he couldn't coach the OU game and try to save his job.
Yeah. Well,
right. If we've seen anything these last couple of weeks in college football, you don't really know, man. Like college football can be weird. If you give them the opportunity to coach that game, they play OU well. Maybe they even win it. I don't think that's going to happen, but right. It's college football. Anything can happen, right?
Well,
I don't think they wanted him to have the opportunity to coach that football game.
I'm with you. Well, that's the other part of this thing. This is a disaster for Oklahoma. This is not what you want. You do not want to go face a team that just got embarrassed, that just got their head coach fired. They've got an interim now. Every team always plays their absolute ass off one time for the interim guy, right? One time. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh God, no.
Why?
Why
Nebraska?
Because you know, just like I do, you know, like how it's like it's written in the book. Like this is just, they're going to go out and play their absolute asses off, and it's going to be like a storybook day for Nebraska. Now they're not going to win, but they're going to play a really, really good football game.
I'll be surprised if they don't.
Yeah.
And this defense, who I don't even know, like, what happened to Nebraska's defense? It was a pretty solid group. I know they lost some guys off last year's team, but their defense is horrible.
Oh, well, they looked god awful against Northwestern.
Yeah, and they looked even worse against Georgia Southern, giving up 642.
Brutal. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would have let Scott Frost try and go beat Oklahoma and still fired him on October 1st, even if he did beat Oklahoma. I would have, if to save $7.5 million. Yeah. It's just be like, hey, just want to let you know, October 1st, we're going to fire you no matter what happens in this game. So, hey, sorry.
It's probably how I would have approached it as well. But also, like, what is, how matter Nebraska fans? How does that affect you financially? Like, is them being pissed off for 20 more days, like, would it cost you in the long run more than $7.5 million? I don't know. I'd
hold a press conference and say, listen, fans, we're firing Scott Frost on October 1st to save $7.5 million. Just so you know, he's still going to be here maybe even demote him. I don't know if you can demote him, what his contract says or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's hilarious, but I'm happy. My theory has been that Scott Frost is trying as hard as he can to get fired before October 1st. And he got it done. It just took a Georgia Southern loss.
Job well done. Ended up never having a winning season as Nebraska's coach. 16-31 overall, 5-22 in one-score games in his career there. And this is an interesting one. Since 2018, the only Big Ten school to have a worse overall record than Nebraska is Rutgers.
Oh,
it hurts me to read that. It hurt me.
There was another stat, like Nebraska was like 214-0 when they've scored over 35 points. And now they're 214-1, I guess. Like they'd never lost a game. So it's something. It's over 200 games.
Jeez.
Crazy.
Who you hiring if you're Nebraska?
I don't.
It's a good job. Like, it's a Big Ten job. I mean, it's
who. Let me ask you this: who wants it?
I don't know. I think the level of investment, like from everything I can tell, like there's relatively good alignment is the word you hear. Like they got all the resources in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Urban
Matt
Meyer?
Campbell? Try to get Matt Campbell?
God, I mean, yeah, you try to get Matt Campbell, but
I think if
Matt Campbell's about to be in the Big 12 with a good chance to be one of the top dogs.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to leave, and they're paying him a ton now. I think if I was putting a list together for Nebraska, right, I want my team to be physical, just because of the type of players we're going to be able to recruit. I'm hoping Matt Rule gets fired from the Panthers, and I'm hoping I can convince him to be the next Nebraska coach.
Boy, that would be an absolute home run hire if they could get Matt Rule. Yeah.
But
yeah,
lots got to happen for that to work out for him. So
I don't know. You got to feel like a lot of folks are going to see, like, Scott Frost is good coach, good pedigree. I just could not get anything going at all at Nebraska. Money talks, and everyone's always going to feel like they can go in there and change it. But I just don't know how many people are going to be, how many top guys, like someone will take it. There's no doubt, but I don't know how many of the top targets are going to be like, I don't know.
I wonder how quickly Scott Frost is going to be an analyst at Bama.
I thought he was going to be an analyst at Oklahoma.
I'd be all for it. Why not?
Yeah.
We'll see.